Right now I am here in Orlando at another event. This is I don't even know what kind of event this is, but I got hired for it. And right now I'm just basically just doing interviews all day. I have one interview, I believe, at 7, and then I have another one at 9:30. It is now, call time it's 7, but I woke up at 4, it is now 6:30. I had to be here. So I'm gonna be doing 2 cameras, interviewing 2 people. Gonna be walking around doing some B-roll and basically just getting more client testimonials and doing more interview. I hope that I brought all my lights. You can see here, I finally got a wagon, finally got a cart. Hopefully I don't need to set up lights, I'm hoping, but I'm gonna get everything framed up, see how it looks. And yeah, I guess I'll just pick up the camera from there. Okay, so one thing that I didn't mention is the gear that I'm using. I'm using as my primary camera a Sony fx6 with a 35G master. And then I have over here, which I don't really recommend it, I rented it out, is the A7 III. Now there's nothing really wrong with it, but trying to get this to match the fx6 might be kind of difficult. I have a Sigma 24-70. I'm gonna use the 35mm focal length for this interview because I prefer a 50, but I don't have a 50 in a prime, so I can't really do that. So I'm gonna try to set everything up, try to match both cameras to the best of my ability. The client wanted 2 cameras, one point at one face, one point the other face. I'm gonna try to convince her to do the fx6 as a wide shot and just do one tight shot of the interviewee, the person being interviewed, and try to see if she likes that idea. If not, I'm gonna have to set it like this, but we'll see how it works. Okay, so right here is kind of where I began to start having some of my issues. As you can see right here, the A7 III is on a photography light stand and it's not on a tripod. The reason being, the tripod that I rented out was a cheap Manfrotto tripod and it didn't come with a head, so I couldn't tilt it or pan it or do any of that. It was just a fixed tripod. And honestly, I didn't really think that was going to be an issue, so that's why I rented it out. Plus, it was super last minute. I had to rush it. I had to get something quick for this shoot. It wasn't until I got home where I realized the screw did not screw into the A7 III. It was only able to screw into my FX6, which I was like, okay, no big deal. Then I'll just throw the FX6 on that. But when I put the FX6 on the Manfrotto tripod, there was just too much headroom and I needed to tilt it. I needed to make adjustments. So I just scrapped the entire tripod and wasted money on a rental. So what I did was just throw it on a photography light stand that I had since I wasn't using all my lights, and I made it work like that. Honestly, if I didn't have an A7 III and I had a different cinema camera, this most likely would have not worked, but it saved me in the long run, and it's just mistakes like that I just can't be making on future shoots like this. So this is the finished product of the 2-person interview setup. I have my key light, which is an Aperture 300D. I'm running about 40% with 3 layers of diffusion because I want it as soft as possible on my subject's faces. The FX6 as the main wide camera, it's going to capture both of them in frame. The A7 III with the 35G master. Both lenses are at 35, capture both frames. The A7 III is going to be more of a tighter shot, not too tight, but just to give a different perspective. Both lavalier mics. Then I have a shotgun mic on the FX6 just to capture a second audio. It's going to be more like the ambient sounds, just to have a backup audio, just so I have a peace of mind that the audio is not going to mess up with the lavaliers, because you never know what can happen with interferences and all type of stuff. Yeah, I know the A7 III, I'm using it on this. The tripod that I rented out, it doesn't work with the A7 III. So I had to improvise last minute. Luckily, I brought all my light stands, which made it so much more easier. And yeah, right now, I think it's about 7-ish. I think first interview is gonna be 7:30. It got changed because you always gotta be prepared for events like this. You never know what can happen. Things never go according to plan. My last event, nothing went according to plan. So you gotta improvise, and now we're just gonna sit here and wait. I'm probably gonna get some B-roll, just so I'm not sitting here doing anything, but I'm gonna wait until the client gives me the green light to do that. But yeah, this is how it's looking, and for the most part, we'll see how it goes. So right now with these batteries, I'm at about 53%, and I have about, I think, 3 or 4 more interviews to go. This is how the frame's looking. The client's satisfied with it, I'm satisfied with it. So hopefully this battery lasts me, because I didn't bring a second battery because I only was told that I was doing 2 interviews and they were gonna be 30 minutes long. So, but I do have the Sony battery that came with the camera. I believe that battery lasts about 2 hours, hour and a half. I think it's 2 hours. So hopefully those 2 alone should get me through the entire day. So right now, my client gave me a little 15-minute snack break, lunch break. And it's very interesting. Now, I believe the expo is actually starting, so everyone is rolling into the building, so it's getting kind of loud. So they kind of want to wait until the noise level goes down because they don't want to interfere with the audio. But it's definitely One thing I will say is very important to always check your audio, because when it was quiet in there, I had my gain set to about 5 or 4 on a lavalier mics, but once the noise level went up, you couldn't really hear the audio at all. So it's a good thing that every time the interview is finished, you go and recheck the audio, retest it out, and that's what I did. So now I had to increase the gain to about 7-ish, 6-ish. I don't want to raise it too high, because then it's going to peak, and I don't want the audio to be clipping at all. It's already allowed with the ambient sound, so always good to, whenever you finish any type of interview, always recheck everything before you proceed to do another interview. So I'm live here at the event, and there's something really crazy about this event. I am the only videographer here, and there's perks to that. Because of that, my client had introduced me to another client that just hired me. So now I'm working 2 jobs in one. You see I got all my lights set up here, my camera set up here. I'm only hired for about 30 minutes to an hour, but that's still an extra client. They see my work, and in the future, they can hire me again. So that's the perks about really networking. And I didn't even network myself. My client networked for me and got me hired at this job. So networking is a great key, but only issue that I have is I didn't prepare for 2 shoots. And the VMAX battery that I have for the fx6 is already dead, so now all I have is just the native Sony battery that came with the fx6, and I got about 98 minutes left to record with that. So all my lavalier microphones are dead. They're charging right now, but that's why it's always good to prepare for shoots when you don't really know how they're gonna come. I wish I brought more batteries, but it is what it is. Only for 30 minutes to an hour, so I should be good to go. So while I'm here and I have free time, let me guys show you my whole setup. So I have a cart right here. This is a new cart that I'm using. It's a wagon, actually. It's getting the job done for now, at least. Can't complain. I just gotta stop buying so much gear. And then over here, I have the Aperture 300D as my key light. I have it at 20%. And then this is where my subjects.
I just wanted to finish up with you, so we're done.
Yes.
Yes, and now you're